Welcome to the MadTrio podcast. This week we have the California Pariah, Jonathan Charney. We have James the Fat Man Stevens.
Hello.
And the man whose only goal in life is to play a body on TV, Ryan Preston.
That'd be so dope. I don't know if I could hold my breath long enough. I've been smoking too long.
There was a
multi-takes.
I think there was a guy or a woman many years ago who did that. Basically, put the pale makeup on and did poses of them, like this is a dead body this way, a dead body being stabbed. It was hilarious, just so that she could get, or he or she could get on like CSI.
Did she do it? Did she get on that?
I don't remember. So I got a couple of interesting stories for you. One being, and I doubt you guys heard of this because I just
Hold on a second. I'm only down to hear one of your interesting stories, so make it a good one.
Sorry, you don't have a choice.
There's always a choice.
So this one, I heard about this yesterday. So there's this food place called Jimmy's Famous Seafood. And apparently this is a place that everybody goes to, like when the WWE wrestlers are there, that's where they go to. That's their place of choice. And so PETA put a billboard about that's not, don't eat seafood, the typical PETA stuff. Eating animals are bad, blah, blah, blah.
Smack them.
Yeah, so Jimmy's Seafood, I don't know if you can see my phone. So
Seafood doesn't have feelings.
Jimmy's Seafood said, so this is some of their tweets. 4 shrimp, 2 crab, and 1 lobster died to create this beautiful masterpiece. That's still 35,993 less animals than PETA has slaughtered. Then they have a picture, there's a video of a bunch of crabs cooking in a pot. And it says, hey, PETA, you mad? There's another one that says, believe all the kitty colonies, which they call ferals, even though 90% are former pets who have been dumped, and pit bulls should be euthanized. Run one shelter in Virginia with a kill rate of over 90%. But eating crab is evil. And they've done this ever since PETA put this thing up. They've been trolling PETA.
What did the sign say from PETA?
Oh, God. That's what I've been trying to find. I saved the link, and I haven't been able to find it again. Give me one second.
No, I just find it great that they're trolling PETA.
Oh, goes, I'm me, not meat. See the individual, go vegan.
That's the best they could do?
Yeah.
That's actually really
pathetic. This particular story is from the Louder with Crowder comedian / social commentator.
Well, I got to say, that was very anticlimactic, their sign.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, that's really pathetic in my book.
I always thought it was great. I know one of the things I always wanted to do, and I just never had the chance, was once in a while PETA would protest in Sacramento and downtown. And I always thought, okay, this is a great idea. Let's throw a barbecue for the homeless.
Yeah.
Let's, get a bunch of Costco burgers and hot dogs and stuff, and let's, cook for the homeless right next to the PETA rally. Because
I'm down for that.
I'm kind of a dick. Well, depending on which X you ask, I may be more than that, but...
I didn't think you had that many X's.
Enough.
All right.
Another one, which this one...
Ryan's going to tune out on this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, this one is hilarious. So, this is one I heard on a local radio show this morning. It's from the Daily Mall. So, here's the headline. Our request was not effing out of the ordinary. Bridezilla, who asked guests to pay $1,200 to attend her wedding, calls it off and breaks it up with her fiancé when they refuse to cough up the money. Apparently what this was a destination wedding. I guess they didn't have the $60,000 or more for the wedding, so they said, okay, if you're going to come to the wedding, you need to help pay for it, then penny up the dollars.
In theory, it's not a bad idea, but... So obviously, in practice, it didn't work out.
So it's $60,000 Canadian, so that's probably $55,000 American. I just thought it was hilarious. It's like, that's right. Invite people to your wedding and ask them to pay for it. And apparently, they have a kid together. Oh. And apparently, what she said later on in the story, she said, "Well, I'm going off to Brazil or something and hike to find myself." And it's like, wait a minute.
Don't you have a mirror?
I just thought it was funny.
Peter.
She wants to find herself by going somewhere else. I think this guy definitely avoided the bullet by marrying her.
I mean...
Sorry, I disappeared there for a minute.
That's okay. $12,000 to go to a wedding. I mean, I love my friends, but I don't know if I love them $12,000 worth.
Obviously, hers.
Oh
don't.
yeah, I got a buddy who's getting married. Luckily, he's getting married local. Unlike James, getting married local where he is.
Yeah.
Doesn't once take into consideration the one guy that lives in L.A.
Didn't you come down and go shooting with us?
Yeah, that was good times. I can't do that down here.
It was
at least not in somebody's fucking backyard.
And he didn't have to pay for ammo. So come on.
Yeah, or clean
I think I chipped in. Don't
You
fucking
leave a
make me
mess
out to be
down
the
there?
guy that doesn't pay for ammo.
Yeah.
So come on. Could you imagine that though? Say your friend who's getting married says, in order to attend my wedding, you got to give me $1,200.
They obviously don't love her that much. Like I said, I mean.
So let's see. Susan blamed her guest for the breakdown of her relationship on Facebook. Her status was shared by one of her relatives on the wedding shaming group. The poster later responded to overwhelming reactions, saying that she had never known Susan to be this obnoxious in the past. Yes, you did.
So now I got a question though. Who put together a wedding shaming Facebook account?
I don't know, but I want to be a part of it. It sounds hilarious.
I kind of agree. It sounds like it could be interesting.
Because I normally hate these Bridezilla shows. My wife's watched them a couple of times, and I can't stand it because they're just these women being wankers who are just like, this isn't the right fucking color, and freaking out. It's like, just go to Vegas. I mean, come on. My wedding was not cheap, but it wasn't.
You just called those women wank.
Yes, I thought it was hilarious. Part of the show is to make me laugh, so,
Fair enough.
I just thought I was just amazed the fact that somebody would have the balls to do that. And everybody so far I've told this story to has had the same reaction. Wow, that dude lucked out. He only has to see her on visitation days.
I'm just really baffled that. Did you really expect everybody to pay?
Oh, I guarantee she did. Because she's probably like, oh, it's only $1,200. It's not that much. When most people I know, that's like half their rent.
So, I was thinking that I would bring up something that this one amazes me almost every time. Conspiracy theories. Ryan, have you ever heard of the Anunnaki race?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I have. I'm acutely aware, or adjacently aware.
Okay.
There's another word I'm looking for, I'm sure.
Unfortunately aware?
There's one part, yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking
I
about?
have a cursory knowledge of what's going on.
It's called the reptoid hypothesis.
The what?
The reptoid hypothesis, that there's a reptilian elite that live on the earth underground.
Underground, yeah.
I had a long conversation one day with our dearly departed former co-host Jeff Michael about the aliens, the lizard men, and
the Anunnaki.
Apparently they had a race. I just thought they were iguanas with attitude. So,
but I've heard of them before. But the actual theory is that they came here for monatomic gold, which is pure 24 karat gold.
And they needed to power their spapeships.
I'm just thinking, like, why are they still here then?
I want to know what was the reason they came for gold.
They were supposed to be here before ish when the Native Americans were here.
Why did they need the gold? If they needed to procreate,
This is basically the ancient aliens show.
My hair's not nearly as goofed up enough for that.
But I was just curious if you guys had heard of this theory before. Obviously, Ryan has. John's been lectured at.
Conspiracy theories this ridiculous generally don't interest me. I much prefer that that there were two men who killed Kennedy up on the grassy knoll. That type of conspiracy theory I can at least entertain versus there's some ancient alien race. I mean, it's up there with Scientology.
Come on, Charney, you know how blowback works.
Now, I didn't know this, but there have been name drops of people who believe in this. There's 2 presidents that are in the list that have outright said they believe in it. I want to know what you guys think. Who are the 2 presidents that you think would actually buy this?
Modern presidents or former presidents?
Former. And presidents. I'm thinking maybe. Oh, so not Trump, not current.
No current sitting president that we know of yet.
Like they say the last.
Let me think here.
2 decades.
Probably Reagan, because it's got to be recent, because this is not a widely spread theory prior to maybe 15 years ago.
No, but Reagan believes in UFOs.
That's why I went Reagan first of all.
But no, he hasn't outright said that he believes in the
Carter.
Anunnaki. No.
Ford?
No.
Nixon?
Nope. I'm going farther than I meant you to go.
Oh, well, okay, then Bill Clinton.
Ding.
George W. Bush.
Ding. The George W. Bush thing kind of surprised me because he doesn't seem like the type to do that. Bill Clinton, like one of the first things he did when he got in office was to ask about Area 51 and aliens.
Honestly, as much as I hate to say this, because I actually liked George W. Bush, he seems
out there.
He seems banjo enough that he would believe in that. I mean, because there was a few times like when he did, Brownie, you're doing a good job. That I swear I heard banjos playing in the background. So I'm not particularly surprised, honestly.
The other one that kind of threw me for a loop is one of the great late night TV show guys does too.
Currently,
Carson,
Hope,
Bob Hope. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that Bob Hope was in it.
But, I mean, that was back in, the 50s that he was really popular? I'm just wondering, what made him...
50s, 60s.
What made him jump on that? Was he at the Battle of Los Angeles? I mean...
I don't know.
Putting that out there. I
want to know why Clinton believes in that, because Clinton doesn't believe anything that a poll doesn't tell him. So I'm kind of... That kind of shot. Well, when you have a gun pointed to your head or evidence that you cheated, I mean, I guarantee at this point the only thing he says to her is "Yes, ma'am."
Probably.
But because he's pussy whipped because he fucked up.
True.
Of course, I don't blame Hillary. If I was married to him, I'd blackmail him too.
Well, I'm just curious as to what is the thought process that you go through to just all of a sudden say that there's aliens around. There are cave drawings of Native Americans that do kind of have a lizardish profile to it that they found. I mean, to me, that's graffiti art.
I literally have no idea what would make you connect the dots. I literally have no clue. Like what in history would make you assume that
aliens exist, or not aliens, but reptoids that have been living in our planet.
Because people want to believe crazy shit.
Centuries.
However, I could believe that Trump's father was really Pokey in disguise. Because that's one orange motherfucker.
You mean an Oompa Loompa?
No. Pokey from the Gumby.
Gumby.
Oh.
The horse. Because he's orange.
All right.
He's not he's not that naturally shaped with that color.
True. I'm just curious about I that just blows me away is the people that they name dropped in this one. I mean, like you said, I mean, I just don't. I expect Bill Clinton to go with that, but
even Bill Clinton,
Bush and Hope are the ones that really throw me for a loop.
See, I don't even get Clinton because realistically, if I was president, I'd say, "Hey, is any truth to this?" Because I'd be curious, but.
Okay, the thing about it is I can see both Clinton and Bush playing with action figures still.
You mean like dark helmet style?
So the question is why? Because do you think it's because of Bill Clinton got syphilis? Because that I could see.
You think Bill Clinton got syphilis?
As much bumper as that guy got? You kidding? The only woman he said no to was Linda Tripp. The only girl.
I mean, that's pure speculation, but okay.
Well, I was going to say, I would say no to her too.
Excuse me. Allegedly got syphilis, just like the governor of California. Bill Clinton is a really smart guy, so that still shocks me. Even Bush is not stupid, so I don't know. I would love to know what made them connect the dots like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I mean, there's lots of conspiracy theories out there already, but this is one that has always confused me, is the reptilian one.
Yeah, like
I could buy into the grays or, the other crap a little bit maybe. But the reptoid one really throws me for a loop every time.
Yeah, I don't get. That confuses me. And so I got to warn you real quick. We are going to talk a little bit about politics. John McCain passed away. The most interesting thing so far about him passing is the amount of vitriolic hatred for the guy and what side it's coming from. Because you have the Democrats praising him, which surprised me, because when he was running with Sarah Palin, the amount of hatred spewing into that guy was epic, and a lot of Republicans are crapping on John McCain. Now, John McCain was a legit war hero, far as I think he was a POW for 8 to 5 years. Apparently they screwed up his shoulder so bad for he couldn't raise his arms past his shoulder for the rest of his life, and he was a young man when he was captured.
Yeah, he's just a sourpuss on roller coasters.
Jeez, even I wouldn't make that joke.
Well, that's why I did it.
I don't know. I just found it fascinating. I mean, I wasn't a big John McCain fan. It did find out that he personally was going after the Tea Party groups, which I thought was kind of crappy. But it was just interesting. Like I'm not sure how much I'm for genuflecting on a politician, but hey, the dude served the country. Give a little bit of respect. And what do you think, Ryan?
I mean, when people give hatred to somebody like John McCain or Bush and then love him a little bit later, you know what I mean, or sort of look back on it fondly, it's because that everything nowadays seems sort of quaint, back then. It seemed like just kind of the good old days of politics. It's like we knew the side was lying, but we kind of just, it was business as usual, Like now it's so far beyond the pale of the usual misinformation that it's like, oh, remember Bush? Oh, remember McCain? Like these guys were just playing the game that they've played forever.
I don't know. I mean, I think it was kind of crappy. I mean, and I kind of feel this way about, even if it was a guy I couldn't stand, like say Clinton died, is give the guy his respect and his due, wait a couple of months, talk crap about him then, but the dude's body's still warm. I mean, that's the part I thought was kind of fucked up. But it doesn't help, to quote my favorite radio show, Trump is the most butthurt president ever.
Well, I mean,
my gosh, dude.
What I was going to bring up is wait a month or so. There were Michael Jackson jokes that came out before his heart stopped beating.
And
those came out really fast, unlike he did.
Some of them were funny, but even I thought that was disrespectful. I mean, especially Michael Jackson. If you're going to compare the two, Michael Jackson life wasn't exactly the greatest thing ever. I thought that was cold. The guy had a hard life. Well, hold on.
Here's the thing, though. You can't stop somebody. I mean, you don't have to listen to the jokes or read the tweets and things like that. I mean, but that's some people's coping mechanism, for fuck's sake.
No, you're right. But I just meant in the fact that basically towards the media. I mean, the jokes weren't said by any of the media except maybe the late night comedians, but just far as
if you're getting your news from late night television, you need to change your life.
Well, for a while there were some that were more accurate than the regular news reports. I would say that the media needs to at least give some respect, far as, yes, we know these people hated John McCain. We know this. All sides, the politicians and media at least need to give the guy some sort of respect, just for a little bit. And then go on. You guys can talk as much crap as you want about him, because God knows there's enough to hate about John McCain, because he was in politics for like 40 years? 1980? Yeah, 40 plus, almost 40 years. So there's enough stuff you can talk about him. Just give him some respect. Wait till at least his body's cold. That kind of pissed me off.
Never.
And
Ryan doesn't wait till the bodies are cold either.
He likes them warm.
Till they get to the morgue.
So, you've heard of Stockton, California, right, Ryan?
Yes, unfortunately.
So apparently Stockton,
not to disparage the good people of Stockton. You know what I mean? It's not exactly Merced or anything. So.
Stockton, California's police department now has something else to worry about. People playing cowboys and Indians, apparently, because a cop car was shot by an arrow. It's
Wow.
yeah, it's literally it's a modern arrow just sticking out of the hood of the cop car. You think you'd be worried about a gun. Now you're worried about some dude randomly shooting you with like a recurve
I'm
bow.
pretty sure that shit's gonna go through Kevlar.
You're the fucking Punisher, apparently.
You know, that's a good question.
I want a Gatling gun.
I wonder if it would penetrate a standard police vest.
So that or Burt Reynolds from Deliverance.
So I'll have to ask the old guy that, but
Sweet.
I doubt they travel as fast as a rifle because most
No,
handgun-
no, shit, no.
But I
'Cause
mean,
most-
the tip of the arrow is going to actually separate more than a standard bullet would.
possibly.
Well, it depends on the broadhead, which they make some vicious fucking
Oh yeah,
broadheads.
they do. Oh my god.
well, looking
But
at
it's also you have a pretty heavy grain, arrow, as compared to a bullet. So there's still a lot of energy transfer.
well
yeah,
just
that's what I'm thinking.
just
I mean,
going by
probably
the
could.
just going by the pictures, this doesn't look like one of those broad hunting bolts. It looks like one of the target shooting bolts. Target
Like a
shooting.
field tip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a practice thing.
yeah, because that's what's sticking out. Because I don't see any other deformation of the metal or
Yeah,
any
that's
of like
somebody
the
just trying to
spikes.
fuck around with the cops. They might as well have paintballed it,
I'm just thinking maybe somebody is practicing and just kind of like shot it up and caught some
That's
wind and.
that's a hell of an oops.
I know, but I mean,
That's
All
like
I thought of was the scene from 187.
that was a good scene.
Remember that shit? Fucking
Fucking
Indians.
Indians.
Ah.
I was just, I don't know. I love the picture just because you imagine being the cop, you're pulling up somewhere and next thing you know, an Indian's sticking up. And because if I was the cop, I'd say, I don't get paid enough
I'm
for this
gonna
shit.
And
Scalp
that's
you,
when
boy.
the attack comes. Not from the front, but from the sides. From the other two Indians you didn't even know were there.
Because my first thought, especially if I had a partner in the car, it's
I
like,
just watched that recently. It was on
I
Netflix.
was watching that too, like maybe a couple of weeks ago. I fucking love that
I
movie.
do too.
So maybe next time you'll show a little more respect.
No.
so since apparently I have all the stories. Another interesting news is FDA approves the first generic version of the EpiPen, considering it's ridiculously expensive, the standard one.
Yeah.
Well, that's very, very nice of them. I mean, that should be a fucking over-the-counter thing. Like if you're kind of not breathing, you should be able to walk into like a CVS and just, like grab the guy by the shirt and be like, "Give me an EpiPen."
But all I think about when it comes to the EpiPens is Archer, where she's eating the crab.
Holy crap.
Oh yeah,
So Mylan, which brought the rights to EpiPen from another drug company, Pfizer, has drawn increasingly vocal outrage for hiking the price of the EpiPen to more than $600 for a twin pack.
Yeah.
It offers the generic version for $150 to $350
A pack or just
for a 2-pack.
that's quite a drop.
I just still $600 for something that could save somebody's life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a socialist at all, but I actually think the government should say, yeah, no. I mean, I have a hard time with medicine that can save people life, like fucking insulin. Some insulins and shit's expensive, like the supplies and stuff.
So,
yep.
you were talking about
That's
Trump.
the
earlier.
that's the insurance companies. There was actually, you guys ever watched the Adam Ruins Everything show?
Never
No.
heard of it.
It's fucking great. I think it started out as like a YouTube show or a fucking podcast or something, but they put it on TV, and I can't even remember the guy's last name. But this dude really does some good research about just about everything he does. But he did a great one on the fucking healthcare system, essentially how the between the healthcare industry and the insurance companies sort of jack the price of everything, just sort of for mutual benefit.
I just,
Yeah.
it's fucking
And,
crazy.
oh man, dude, it was just like I hate insurance companies. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, I've hated him for a long time. Long time.
Yeah, some of that shit, I mean, is ridiculous.
So what do you guys think of Trump not lowering the flag? Just curious.
For McCain.
Kane.
Yeah, he only did it after
I thought they
shaming.
did.
Well, he did it for
Oh, after
48.
the
He did
shaming,
it for
okay.
48 hours, and it went
Yeah.
back up. Because what it's been is traditionally it's been until the body's been interred.
Entombed.
Oh, whatever.
Interred.
Shut up. Wasn't asking you.
not interned.
Shut up.
Okay, that's like if you're a prisoner.
Interred.
Interred.
You know what? I'm of kind of two minds of it. First thing, I thought it was kind of screwed up, but in the end, it's really his choice. Go back to my previous conversation, show some respect. But per previous conversation, Trump's an extremely butthurt president. Matter of fact, McCain made a parting shot in his death speech. Holy shit, did that guy hate Trump? I just said keep a tradition. Even if you don't like the guy, pay him his dues. The dude's a legitimate war hero. And I only do the quotes. I didn't mean, whatever. Because I don't know if he'd consider himself a war hero. Most people I know who have been in any sort of wars, their general thing is the only heroes are dead ones.
Yeah.
You know what it was, though? I think I love, hate, or dislike or whatever, his politics and things like that. I think he really struck me as a dude who was doing the right thing the way he felt it was right. You know what I mean? Like, whether or not I agreed with him, that is a completely different story. But I think he was coming at it from a relatively honest place, given he's a politician and there's certain sort of compromises and games that need to be played in order to be in that game. I get it.
Wasn't he the only Republican vote on Obamacare? There was something, I don't remember, there was something major that he voted on, and his whole opinion was that it should not be a single party vote, that both parties should play ball on it. So he voted for it because his personal opinion was it had to be done. It's like, I actually kind of agree with Ryan. I mean, the guy, in that respect, I can give the same respect to Nancy Pelosi, and I can't stand her. Is at least they're kind of going their conscience. Whether I like that or not is a different opinion.
And I think that he might have been a person who should have his mind changed, and that's I don't mind like the. It depends on the context, I suppose, but I have no worries about like the person is what do they call it, flip-flopping or wishy-washy on a subject. Like, I'm fine with people changing their views based on new information, and I think McCain might have been one of those sorts of people, but I think he just had sort of different values. And
the only thing that bugged me about McCain was the Tea Party thing, because I never heard why he was against it so much. I mean, was it the fact that for that short hiccup of time, the Republicans were starting to lose to him, or was he against him? That's the only thing, like, I'm curious why, because my first thought would be it's another base to play to, politically speaking. That was the only thing that kind of was always curious on McCain. Besides that, no, I agree with Ryan.
I really felt no one way or the other about the guy, but I think like what you said is that there's been a standard set. Continue with it, keep it consistent, whether or not, they're Republican, Democrat, liberal, whatever. If they die and you have the ability to lower the flag to give them respect, just do it. It's not a big deal.
The only thing that I don't
charged by the hour on the flag being lowered.
The only thing
to me, I mean, it's like politics used to be like two boxers. Like, hey, look, man, we're leading up to a fight, so I'm gonna fucking hate you. But afterwards, it's like, hey, man, we're gonna hug it out.
It's like a wrestling, like a WWE match. It's all hate. Yeah. It's all gimmick up until it's over and you're friends again.
And not even some like conspiracy sort of way where it's like, hey, we're all gonna go in the back and rub our hands together maniacally and count our fucking money. Just like, hey, look, I understand you're trying to do what you're trying to do for your constituents, and I'm trying to do the same. But everything gets lost in sort of identity politics these days.
Well, it seems to me like I really started noticing it around when Bush won against Gore, with the hanging chads and Gore's lawsuit. I started noticing it ramping up then, and then it really hit with Obama on the Republican side. Then it's really ramping up on the Democrat side versus Trump. Not saying Trump doesn't have skeletons in his closet. He's a New Yorker who's a developer. There's going to be skeletons in his closet. You just have, there just is, being a New York developer. It's the part that's ridiculous. I've talked to folks older than me, and they've said, they noticed it, way back when. So it's, I guess it's just a trend that just really, I would say, ramped up in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's, it's horrible because they still try to do this quasi respect thing. I want to see it more like the British parliamentary system. I want to see like oh God, one of the politicians just say, "You sir are a flying piece of monkey piss," or I want to see him call names because at least they're not pretending to be civil.
I mean, in World War II, I just heard a story between Eisenhower and another guy where he told somebody to leave and basically kicked him out of the room they were in with the British. And the British guy goes, he just called me a son of a bitch. He says, "No, sir. He called you a British son of a bitch. He needs to go." Like, that's a good line. I mean...
Well, like my other favorite story was how Abraham Lincoln jumped out of a window to avoid a vote. Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
this in American politics. When people say politics are changed, American politics have been like this. They swing back and forth.
Yeah. I don't really blame him. I'd jump out a window during a vote too.
I just think it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, what was the Supreme Court vote? The one I've heard is before Democrat, the Democrat president, and he picks a Democrat nominee for judge. Traditionally, the Republicans have just gone, yeah, whatever, go ahead. And the same thing with the Democrats. Now all of a sudden they're fighting it. When if you take a look at most of the judges who right now are on the Supreme Court, and even the real liberal ones, have been appointed by Republicans. So you could really see that they don't really care about party line. They care about how they interpret the Constitution, which in the end is all it really matters is their opinion on the law. Are they a strict constitutionalist, or are they, it's a living document? So there's this American government has just gone knucking futs.
Yeah. It really has, and it's I don't know. I'm pretty much over it. It's just a bunch of bullshit.
So
I know. I don't even read the fucking news anymore. I'm just I mean, if I start hearing things that might start sincerely affecting my day-to-day life, I might be back in, and I'll probably jump back in another couple of years.
But
I'm not one of these people like, oh, he's gonna get impeached. There's no fucking way.
So a couple of things. I was gonna say, hold on. One thing on that is, I think that would be the biggest mistake ever. Not only do I think it would send set a shitty precedent. You have a president who you disagree with wholeheartedly. Let's get rid of him. That's not going to backfire, because it backfired on the Democrats when they changed the Senate rules. Just let him play out. Kick ass during the elections. Make him a lame duck president for his last 2 terms, and life moves on. But kicking him out, you're going to have, was it Pence the vice president?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, they would only kick him out if there was actually grounds. No one's getting impeached just for funsies,
All impeachers ask for funsies.
Even, I think you'd have to have, it's going to be like Clue. He was in the library with the gun. I mean, I want bulletproof evidence versus something that's hearsay.
Dude, I mean, this Teflon son of a bitch, dude. You don't think you would need fucking bulletproof evidence? The shit that people have already kind of fucking put up with is staggering.
I solely, and I still believe this, I think Trump getting elected wasn't for the fact they liked Trump. Now I'm starting to think people do, but I don't necessarily think it was about Trump. It's just how much the people fucking hated Hillary. And I think it was also a vote against the system, because reality speaking, it was a rib against the Republicans too.
Well, he did what Obama did, essentially, is he mobilized a underrepresented group.
Yep. Hope and change. Make America great again.
That and $1.50 will get you a latte.
I mean, same fucking thing, right?
Oh, 100%. I think the only difference, in my opinion, between Trump and Obama is whether you like the guy or not, he was an amazing orator. He could, the way he would read a teleprompter, his presence was very stately.
Well, that's the thing, is also one of those people that is just like, you know what, agree with them or disagree with them. He's willing to hear you out and would, relish the chance for a decent argument. And I respect that.
He did some things I'm hearing about now that he was going after whistleblowers using espionage
Well,
espionage
yeah, I
act.
mean,
So
look, dude, there's a lot of things that I'm not fucking cool with in that regard. So,
well, I didn't know that. So it was something I actually heard about yesterday that was interesting. But no, I agree. I mean, the dude, he at least seemed to some degree presidential. I think Bush, in my opinion, seemed a little bit more presidential. But I think that's my politics playing more than that's my bias showing more than anything. But I think you have to respect Obama versus Trump, who is I voted for the guy because I was never going to vote for Hillary, and the guy I wanted, he, was no chance he was going to win. I still would have voted for him if Ted Cruz had a chance. If Ted Cruz was on the ballot at the time. It's just he's butt hurt. He's petty. He can't let sleeping dogs lie, and he still has fucking Twitter.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I literally think the problem is social media. If they took away his Twitter account and just ranted and raved in the White House, 4 years later there would have a book, Trump was the craziest president we ever had, versus the shit he says now. I mean, he's worse than Elon Musk calling that one dude a pedo. And I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. It's just like,
I know both you and Ryan just have it out for that guy.
it's just like, well, fucking A. Like, he
Buy him
doesn't,
dinner first, guys.
and he's still using an iPhone. I mean, no offense to Apple, it's one of the more secure phones, or Android phone or whatever. There should be some sort of presidential phone that has security up to the yin yang. I mean,
Oh, I'm sure it does.
a 16-year-old kid just hacked in the Apple. So, come on. I have issues with some things.
We can tell.
He actually, this 16-year-old Australian kid hacked in the Apple. He put all the stuff he downloaded in a folder called Hackety Hack Hack.
That's awesome.
I love that kid.
I actually think Apple should have hired him.
I
What a
think they
fucking
should.
legend.
I don't know. I just, Trump.
Dude, most of those kids get jobs like that with the government or those same companies, all that shit.
And the other thing that's kind of bugging me is in our local area, there was a scuffle. Some kid had a MAGA hat, Make American Great Again, and then this other kid apparently took offense to it and then ripped the hat off the kid's head and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, there's no civility. Like, when I was a kid,
Well,
I mean, look,
Sorry,
when I was a kid, personally, nobody I know would take offense to what you're wearing. They would kick the shit out of you for saying something, but wearing, nobody gave a shit. So it bugs me.
yeah, well, I mean, shit, back in the day, people used to wear things, and I think this still happens, wear things just to piss people off, you
I'll
know?
beat your ass for
But,
wearing white after Labor Day.
but I think it's actually, I think people are starting to, at least the type of people that I kind of respect, I think they're starting to kind of come to the, hey, it's almost like your parents are both fighting, and so you kind of tend to calm down because you see how stupid they look. You know, like everything's gotten so fucking petty that I think the rest of us are just looking at each other like, even if we disagree, like, hey, man, I know we don't usually agree on everything, but this all seems dumb. How about we just talk about it?
I have to say that if you can distance yourself from your personal opinion, watching like MSNBC and Fox News and CNN, it's hilarious. In the 80s, this shit would have been parody. You can't write stuff better than what's happening. I mean,
Yeah, that's
you
for sure.
you have the most powerful, literally the most powerful person in the world. Never mind Putin, never mind this. You're talking about a guy with a finger on the button that controls half the world one way or another. And he's tweeting like basically John McCain can suck it. I mean, it's hilarious.
No. See, no, it's not even as political as John McCain can suck it. Rosie O'Donnell can suck it.
Oh yes, let's do
You know
that.
what I mean? Like, how much fucking time do you got on your hands to do shit like that? Apparently a lot.
I think it's hilarious, and I'm not even bagging on Trump. I just think it's hilarious. And then you have like other politicians like Nancy Pelosi and all these people feign how upset they are. Oh my God, it's so offensive. Oh really?
Well, yeah.
Have you seen some of the shit?
There's a little bit of recreational slash not motivated, like advantageous outrage going on there.
Oh yeah, because the hypocrisy is hilarious. It's like, well, did you hear what you said a news cycle ago?
It's not really hypocrisy, because the shit that they said versus what he says is is a little on the other side of the spectrum.
Well, it's hypocrisy in a way, far as the fact that all politicians say wacky and horrible things. It's just like for example, the anti-gun politicians holding up a revolver and say this thing shoots 200 rounds a minute type of thing, which they've done, or they call a bolt action rifle an AR-15. It's the level of ridiculousness. It just makes me laugh. I mean, even MASH didn't have writers as good as this shit. And that's one of my favorite shows.
The only thing that irritates me about that, like, I understand if they're trying to make a point and they happen to hold up the wrong gun. I would appreciate if those same people who might be anti-gun actually learn something about them.
Yeah.
Before sort of forming an opinion, but I understand, maybe their point of view comes from a different place. I can respect that, but I don't necessarily care if somebody picks up the wrong gun and calls it the wrong thing. Obviously they're sort of the uninitiated, but
the gun argument, the major difference between the gun argument, one of the reasons I've really stopped arguing with people is because it's coming from two ends of a spectrum that really have no room to meet in the middle. Me being probably out of the show, I'm the most pro-gun out of anybody here, and pretty much anybody I know besides the old guy.
I don't know. James wants bazookas and tactical nuclear weapons and shit.
I would never let James have a nuclear weapon.
No, and which is why I'm for at least that type of gun control.
That's bomb control.
These are assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Ordnance control.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I'm in favor of fucking ordnance control.
But because the difference is basically going from, my opinion is, fully automatic weapons should be legal because there's a limit to entry. I could either shoot for the entire afternoon or 60 seconds. There's really a limit on what you can do. The cost is also expensive too. So, but between that and you go between the other side of the argument is guns are dangerous. Nobody should have them. Only law enforcement should have them. Blah, blah, blah. There's no room to meet in the middle. The AR-15 is a perfect example. The AR-15 is a semi-automatic military-looking rifle. There's really no difference between that and a semi-automatic wood rifle. Say like the Mini-14, for example. There's really technically no difference besides one is black and one looks like it's from the military. I've had this conversation with people I work with and other friends, and they don't like the AR-15. And I said, you don't like it because it looks military. Like, no, I don't like it because it does this and this and this. But this one does it. Well, no, it doesn't. It's like, yes, it's the same damn thing, the same basic mechanism.
Here's the thing: it's a common rifle. It's the most common rifle, aside from maybe like a 10-22. But it's the most common rifle you can find, so it's sort of vilified because it is the sort of weapon of choice because people can easily access it.
If a lot of my anti-gun friends and people I know said, "Look, I don't like it because it looks military," I can totally respect that. I disagree. But if they could be more honest about their opinion, it's like, I don't like it because it looks military. I don't think we should have it.
Well, I don't think it's about looks though. I think it's about their perceived capability of this weapon.
I think it's both, actually. Now that you bring that up, I think it's both. I think for one is the news reports have made it sound more dangerous than it is. Don't get me wrong, an AR-15 is still dangerous if not handled correctly, but it's basically a high-powered 22, and they're saying it can go through 6 buildings, it can kill blah blah blah. The hyperbole behind the hatred is ridiculous.
Yeah, which to me it hurts their argument more than helps it. Because it's like when I found out, like people tried to tell me for a long time, "Oh, don't smoke weed; it'll do this, and that to you." And then I smoke weed. I'm like, "You lying sons of bitches! Bet you they lied about coke too."
The only thing that would happen to coke was Miami in the '80s. Yeah, the gun thing, that's the one argument. Well, I don't think there's going to be any common ground because you could call it ignorance, or you could call it just not willing to learn, or I really think it's a worldview. There
is common ground between the fucking problem is, man, is that the people on the far sides of any argument are the loudest ones. So the ones that are willing to sit down and have a quiet conversation with you are obviously not loud. And are not going to be heard, and they're in the back of the room going, "Hey, I'll talk about this. I'll do it." And I've been able to do this with a couple of different things with guns because I'm a gun person, but I grew up in the city. Excuse me.
We just found the pink dolphin, ladies and gentlemen. He's rare.
But yeah, exactly. No, I am rare in this regard. I understand where the people around here are coming from, and I don't strike them as a gun person, so I can sit there and be like, oh, okay, well, this is what I have learned about firearms in my life. You know, my grandfather was a Marine, and he taught me how to shoot when I was a young boy, and this was out in the middle of the desert in New Mexico, and they sort of understand how I can come at it innocently, you know, look at it like a discipline and see it as sort of as a sporting event and you know, home protection and sort of the obvious sort of functions of firearms. But and they can sit there and address their arguments, and I can say, oh, okay, well, have you thought about this? And then also, this doesn't happen very often, but I've had the occasional atheist friend like basically say like, oh, I don't understand how fucking Christians can do this, that, or the other. And I was a Christian for a long time. And being an atheist now, you know, my friends down on that side would actually listen to me saying like, oh, okay, well, look, this is where that's coming from, man. You're sort of misinterpreting it. You're being a little disingenuous and I'm not one of those people that thinks religion is evil, you know what I mean? Or you know, obviously I'm borrowing sort of a parlance of the good and evil thing. But I really don't think that organized religion is inherently bad. I mean, people can turn it into terrible, terrible things. It's not inherently bad. So, but they're actually willing to listen to me, and you know, I'm talking about the people who really, really hate religion, you know, for one reason or another.
So on the gun argument, I'm on the extreme. I admit that, but I'm also willing to have conversations with people. One of the issues in the state of California, where we all are, is you have to be on one side or the other. There's no middle ground in California. If you talk to the people who are anti-gun, they say, oh, yes, it is. You just have to give up your magazines bigger than 10 rounds. You can't have AR-15s. You have to do this. You have to do that. So that is one of the issues. Is in California it's a one-sided argument. It 100% is. So that is the one issue in California where nobody's willing to give ground one way or another because of the amount of ground that's been taken. And with all the shootings, like in the Madden tournament that happened recently, it's a person issue. It's a mental health issue. This has nothing to do with guns. This has nothing to do with the availability of guns. This has everything to do with helping people. Everybody, we live in this world where people get participation trophies for losing. Nobody's willing to admit that we have an issue where the issue is they want to point to, hey, there's an elephant. Let's say this is the issue when it's the other elephant over there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the
no comment.
The what do you call it? Participation trophy thing. That might be a different thing. I mean, you know, that's to me that's not the thing that's creating psychopaths.
No, I mean,
you know what I mean?
But I think,
and I know you weren't drawing that as a dot to dot there, but
I think what it does is it creates an unnecessary conflict that everybody's a winner. I think what it is I do believe children and kids and adults need to have some assembly of what self-worth is. I do have issues with saying, hey, you tried, here's a trophy. No, in life there's winners and losers. Try harder. If you have self-worth...
Yeah, but those people don't grow up to... I mean, you don't... My point is you don't make a psychopath by coddling them, or you don't make a psychopath in general. I mean, you know, there's fucking nut bars out there.
What do you think, James?
You know, who will do psychotic shit, and
I think James is tired of our conversation. The organized religion thing, the only one that's pissing me off is the Catholic Church. And I'm so as a Christian, I do have some doctrinal and theological issues with the Catholic Church, but that's a discussion for a different day. But the bigger thing I have is when you hurt children and you hide it and disguise the hurt under a guise of being a Christian or a man of God, or I have issues with. That's my biggest issue. If no matter what denomination of Christian you are, no matter what Catholic brand of Catholic you are, if you do that, you have issues. And as a father, you will have issues with me. because the church, especially the fucking church, should be a sanctuary. You should be able to go there no matter what I don't really fucking care if you're transgendered, you're gay. You should have a safe spot for something. You should feel safe there. If you take that away, you're a fucking coward. I have major issues with that.
Way to take a hard stance on the pedophiles there, Jarny.
I've had issues with the Catholic Church like this for years, though.
No, I agree
Shoot
with
'em.
you, absolutely, and I think that
With
it's
an
happened
arrow.
for so long and so deeply because it's such I mean, think about it, dude. It's a really good job for a pedophile. If you're a pedophile, you're thinking, what's the job I can get to have access to young boys? I mean, that's a kind of a no-brainer right there. And I think it's been a no-brainer for so long that there's so many people that are so high up in the chain that they're sort of, quote, sympathetic maybe to the person getting indicted for X amount of counts of child diddling. And they're like, hey, listen, I was right there when I was 23. Let me just move you over here. It's just so... ingrained in the fucking fabric of what's going on for so long.
I have sympathy if for some sick reason you feel like
I
attracted.
don't have sympathy.
Well, no, hold on. If you for some reason feel attracted to children, I legitimately feel sorry for you. But the difference is you can't act on that. If you do...
There's been people actually who said like, oh man, please keep me away from kids.
And that's the issue I have. That's the one thing. You cannot act on it. If you act on touching children, you're going to have issues. There was some guy a couple of months ago that said, and we're running way late, said something regarding that at some point in time, children were loved being touched and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. Children have no fucking mental connection of what that is. I just have the whole issue I have with everything on it, and it really pisses me off as somebody who's a believer that you have people violating that trust. I'm very zealous for that if you violate that trust and you violate that area, you should go to jail. And
yeah, I mean, and to me in any way, I mean, if there's so many fucking priests and pastors and whatnot, reverends and whatever in every denomination who sort of use that position just to bang newly divorced women, you know what I mean, and take advantage of their position like that, and
he's still talking, John.
Okay, a timeout for James can talk.
Nope.
Come on.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying it's the position of power that a lot of these sorts of people have, and is sort of alluring to a certain type, And
it's the same way as with Harvey Weinstein. It's probably the same way with Trump to some degree. It's the same way with Clinton. It's a position of power that people put themselves in stupid positions to get taken advantage of to some way.
Yeah.
But the person should be good enough not to abuse that position of power. So James,
yeah, right. That's the idea. I mean, more there's a set of morals. You know what I mean? And
okay, I'm gonna have to ask this: if we live in a society, how do you have morals in society? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a conversation we're gonna have possibly sometime never. So James, do you have any? No. Okay. So the question I want all you to think about, like I really expect anybody who watches this to really come back to me, but I am curious, how do you have morals in a relativistic society when everybody believes that there's no such thing as morals? Well, you'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, for Jonathan Charney, James, Stephen, Ryan, Preston, as always, thank you for listening.
Goodbye.